Hello, everyone, and welcome to Piper's Top Pipeline Plays. Man, that is a mouthful. Today, I'm joined by David Yang, one of our inside sales managers. David, I'm so excited for this session.
Super excited to be here. Thanks, Sarah.
Okay, so for this session, what we're going to be focusing on today is we have 8 plays from 8 different customers featuring the top plays of their versions of Piper. So one thing to note is that Piper can be named anything you want in your organization, doesn't have to be Piper. So with each play, we'll introduce you to the company's Piper, who they are, what the company does, and then focus on their featured play or something that they have been really impressed by that their AI SDR Piper or what their version AI SDR has done. One thing I want to note before we get going is that any personal information from the prospects that interacted with AI SDR has been redacted. So either we cut it out or we're blurring it or whatever it is, just because obviously for privacy's sake, we don't want to share that information. So if you see that, that is why, but we promise these are actual real plays that have happened at these companies, and we will jump right into it. So the first play I want to talk about today is from Plaid. So Plaid has actually chosen to make their AI SDR nameless, which is totally fine. Again, that is customizable to every single customer and what they want to do. And first up, what does Plaid do? So if you ask their AI SDR, they say that Plaid is a financial technology company that allows users to connect their financial accounts to other apps and services. So for their featured play, this is a really cool one. So we can see that their AI SDR is doing discovery before booking a meeting with a prospect. That is obviously one of the main functions of an AI SDR. But what I think is really incredible about this type of play is that the AI SDR has access to all of your system data, so they know who deserves discovery and who doesn't. So the AI SDR can change this process depending on who the visitor is and your company's unique qualification criteria. In this play, that visitor now has done their own research and was able to seamlessly book a meeting with their account rep, all without ever needing to go back and forth via email or wait hours or days after a form fill. So this is like a quintessential AI SDR play, doing qualification and getting that meeting booked. All right, David, who's our next play?
So next up, we have Revenue.io's AI SDR, Ava. And in Ava's own words, Revenue.io is an AI-powered revenue operations platform that delivers real-time guidance in the moments that matter, enabling you to engage, analyze, and guide your team to faster growth. So, Sarah, what I love about this play from Ava is that it shows how, when onboarded properly, these qualified AI SDRs can answer really technical product questions. So you see here that the prospect was asking who Revenue.io is for, what features they have to support reps, and then asks about guided selling. And you can see Ava's responses are not only very detailed, but they also link to the resources where it's getting that information from. And what's so great about plays like this is prospects are able to self-serve and learn about your product without having to dig through the website. And it really helps speed up sales processes and make prospects much more educated when they're booking those meetings and joining those first calls. But what do we have next, Sarah?
Yeah, I do. I really love plays like this because it's so incredible when that prospect shows up to that first call and you don't have to waste time going back and forth about like that discovery or answering technical questions. Like that self-serve is just so beneficial for AEs and helping them speed up that process. So I do love that play. Next up, our third one is we actually have Sam from Sin7. So again, if you go to the website and you ask Sam, what does Sin7 do? She's going to tell you that they help growing businesses manage inventory, sales channels, and supply chain all in one cloud-based software. It's designed to streamline complex retail and wholesale operations, offering integrations with 3PL and EDI to support global sales. Again, this is something that Sam said if you go to the website and you ask her what Sin7 does. So for Sin7's featured play, this is Sam's play, you're actually going to see that she greets an anonymous visitor and asks how she can help. So it's worth noting here that Sin7 has Sam running full-time on their website. So she is their 24/7 SDR running on their website. So every first touch with visitors is going to be with Sam. And in this case, it was actually a customer having issues. So it wasn't a prospect, it was a customer. And thanks to the goals that you can set up that Sin7 set up and qualified, Sam knows to ask what type of customer they are and then was able to direct them to the appropriate link for support. So obviously, while an AI SDR's main goal is to book meetings for you and to drive pipeline, they're also really good at helping to flex support inquiries. So these are conversations you wouldn't want to waste a human SDR's time on, but with Sam, she can handle 100 of these conversations at once or thousands of these conversations at once and never waste the human time. So yes, these AI SDRs are great at booking meetings, but they're also great at answering questions and deflecting support like CM did here for Sin 7. All right, next up, we've got metadata, Dave. I'm excited for this one.
I am too. So Metadata's AI SDR is named Ben, and Metadata is a B2B platform for marketers that helps automate paid campaigns and get to revenue faster without the manual and repetitive work. So in this featured play from Ben, we have what we kindly refer to as a tire kicker. This is someone who may or may not be a legitimate buyer, but when they visit the site, they're anonymous and they're not necessarily showing strong buying intent. So you see here, they ask a few different questions to Ben, which don't shed a ton of light on whether or not they're ready to book a meeting, but Ben helpfully answers each question, even linking them to resources to help them learn more. So that if this is a legit buyer, this is who is just looking to learn more, they can keep moving through the funnel. But if they are just someone that's kicking tires, so to speak, and poking around, we don't waste a human SDR's time answering these questions that won't amount to a meeting getting booked. So as you can see, AI SDRs are great for handling these types of anonymous conversations because they technically have infinite so-called time to waste.
And also props to Metadata. I think Ben is one of my favorite AI SDR avatars with the sweet sunglasses. So one of my favorite avatars of the AI SDRs that we have featured here. So next up, I've got CodeSignal, and their AI SDR is named Cody. And if you ask Cody, what does CodeSignals do? They will tell you that CodeSignals helps technical teams build and assess their skills in realistic environments, helping you to build exceptional engineering teams. So for their featured play, we get to see how good an AI SDR can be at booking qualified meetings. So in this case, Cody captures the email first and then realizes this is actually an ICP buyer that they definitely want to book a demo with. It's actually a chief technical officer, which is their perfect buyer. Now, one of the coolest features of a qualified AI SDR like Cody is their ability to answer what we call qualifying questions before proceeding to booking a demo. So in this case, CodeSignals has specific data that they need to capture, which you can see Cody do seamlessly before they're willing to offer up a calendar for their rep's time. This is really beneficial for both CodeSignals, who can verify that this is the right type of meeting for their team, but it's also really beneficial for buyers who now won't have to answer these questions via back and forth email before the call or waste precious time on the first call. So I really love these qualification questions. It's something I've used a lot with our own AI SDR Piper, but they're really fantastic ways to make sure, again, that the person that's booking time is the exact right person. And Cody does a fantastic job of that in this play. All right, David, what's next?
Next up, we have Talkdesk. This example from Talkdesk is actually one of my favorite Piper examples. Talkdesk is a cloud-based contact center software that uses AI and automation to help organizations improve customer experience, streamline communication, and increase productivity. And in this example, the buyer has some pretty technical and specific questions that they want answered before booking a demo. And you can see here that Piper was able to understand the longer, complex question from this potential buyer and respond with a very accurate answer, and then ask a question at the end to keep that conversation going. The buyer still had some clarifying questions, which Piper handles very easily and sends along resources to help as well. But what I think is so cool about this conversation, Sarah, is the prospect clicked schedule a call, but then proceeded to fill out a demo form on the website. And when they tell Piper that, Piper is able to understand that and respond with a "someone will be in touch with you soon" response, which just makes this such an easy and seamless buying experience.
I really loved this play, and the fact that an AI SDR, in this case Talkdesk, was able to see that person booked a meeting in a totally separate conversion point on the website and still was able to reference that at the end. Again, these are just such incredible buying experiences for someone that feels so realistic and just personalized. So I really loved that play. Thank you for taking us through that, David. Next up, my last one that I'm going to get to talk about today is Aria from AsnwerRocket. So if you ask Aria, what does AsnwerRocket do? She will say that they are an AI-powered analytics platform that helps businesses analyze their data to gain insights. So let's look at Aria's featured play. So here, AsnwerRocket has Aria set up with one goal in mind. They only want Aria to do one thing, and that's to book meetings, which is great because that's what qualified AI SDRs are really, really good at doing. So in this example, you can see Aria does just that by first capturing an email and name, and then finding out what exactly the prospect is looking to learn about. One of the things I really love about these AI SDRs is how natural that lead capture is. It isn't just like a stale form where you input a bunch of information and it just feels very old and stale. It feels like a real conversation and just makes for a really good buying experience. So this is another great example of an AI SDR doing their job and getting a first call booked with the right rep at the right time. So this was a great play by Aria doing the job that she is built to do, which is book those meetings. All right, David, who is our last play of Piper's top pipeline plays?
A conversation from Anna Ingrid, Sinch's AI SDR. So Sinch is a communications platform as a service company that helps businesses and people communicate through messaging, voice, and email. Sinch's customer communications cloud powers conversations between businesses and their customers at scale across channels and throughout the customer journey. Now, in this play, you can see the prospect prompt Anna Ingrid in French, and she's able to immediately start responding in the prospect's preferred language and continue that conversation. Now, Sarah, I don't speak French personally, so I can't tell you exactly what was said in this conversation, but this example is a great one to highlight how an AI SDR has the ability to immediately switch languages based on the prospect that they're speaking to. And honestly, that's definitely not something I would ever expect from any of my human SDRs to be able to do. So it really just showcases the AI's ability to go far and beyond just speaking that one language.
Yep, that was incredible. So those are our top 8 plays. I want to give a huge shout out to our customers for letting us feature these plays. I loved getting to look at all of these and see what each of these customers is doing with their own AI SDRs, what they've named them, how they've set them up on their website. So thank you to the customers that let us feature these plays. And I hope this did spark some inspiration for all of you that are here at PiperFest on what all Piper can do on your website. So thank you, David, for joining. And thank you all of you that are here on this call for joining us for this session.